all hell has broken loose. So let me get you up to speed with the timeline of the key things that have happened. September 12th, Unity made their initial announcement, changing the whole business model effectively. Chaos ensued immediately. September 13th and 14th, Unity followed up with some clarification posts, which were intended to put out the flames, but actually ended up stoking the fire even further because it basically clarified what people's worst suspicions were about the initial announcement. Things got much, much worse. An army of some of the biggest and most well-known game developers in the scene have come together in rebellion and protest of these changes. Many took to Twitter and social media with public statements voicing their opposition to these changes, cancelling future Unity projects, cancelling partnerships, and many even boycotting the platform outright. Megacrit, the makers of Slay the Spire, and even Kenny, the creator of the famous Kenny assets used in basically every Unity tutorial, and so many more. Gary Newman, the creator of the super hit Gary's Mod, wrote a brilliant manifesto aptly titled "Unity Can Get Fucked." You can find that on his Twitter. Some cheeky monkey even edited the Wikipedia page for greed, adding John Riccitiello's photo as an example of what greed looks like. And the memes just kept getting memeier. So many memes, most pretty lighthearted and playful. My own video I posted to Twitter, a 3-second video of me slapping the Unity logo, got 200,000 views, which is funny because I intentionally put no hashtags or anything just to kind of keep it within my community, but that's how it goes. Unity stock prices took a bit of a dive and are now in a bit of a downward trend, so we'll see how that plays out. And Unity CEO John Riccitiello's personal Twitter got absolutely decimated by just like a stream of wild emotional tirades. Some pretty wild stuff, I have to admit. John Riccitiello, I suck your ass. Yeah. And then Unity closed its San Francisco office as a precaution due to threats. The police got involved, the FBI allegedly got involved, and I believe it was later found that the threat came from a staff member at Unity. It's all crazy, absolutely crazy, all of this. It's gone so far. And there are a lot of Unity staff who are innocent bystanders in all of this that are probably copping some flack because the gaming community has now got involved as well. And gamers don't give the fuck. They will just blast anyone. I really feel for those people at Unity right now. And many Unity employees have spoken out about this and showing their discontent about the situation. Staff member John O. Forbes wrote on Twitter, "As a Unity employee until this morning, I assure you we fought like hell against this. Brought up all points everyone has. We're told answers were coming. And then the announcement went out without warning. Those of us who care are out. More resignations coming end of this week." So you can just imagine the turmoil going on in Unity HQ right now. Obviously, there is a divide between the people who just work there and want to make good engines and good content for the community and, upper management. So what else? People started digging around and discovered that Unity had changed the terms and conditions on their Git repo in relationship to their contractual obligations with their engines. Now, this is very dubious and suspicious if true, and it's a bit of a cause for alarm because it could even be illegal. And many studios have started involving their legal teams at this point, and many people have got responses from their lawyers claiming that this whole situation barely makes sense legally and probably is not legal. How did this even happen? We have 7,000 staff at Unity, God knows how many lawyers working for that company. How do you just push this out like this? And this has led to some conspiracy theories. There's various posts on Reddit, people speculating that this is all part of a plan to try to lure a company like Apple into a buyout. Apple now is entangled with Unity as part of their Vision Pro. Apple is somewhat reliant perhaps on Unity to make content for their headset, so they can't afford to have Unity tanking. I don't know how these things work, but I imagine when it comes to corporate kind of bias, there's all manner of shenanigans that take place. I can only imagine. And then we had the ultimatum letter. A large number of major mobile developers came together with an ultimatum letter to Unity, basically stating, you need to change this, and until you do, we are pulling all our Unity ads out. We are turning them off effectively. So all these companies are compromising their own profits at the moment, losing a lot of money, and these companies have said they will not turn these ads back on until Unity reverts this. So where are we now? Well, Unity has gone radio silent at this point. After their last bungled PR attempt, they've kind of given up for the moment. I think they need to think very carefully with what they write next, because let me tell you, like many of you who have their ears on the ground right now, who are in the thick of it and understand the true nature of the situation, a lot of people don't quite get it. They're kind of just watching from afar. I'm a developer. I'm part of the scene. I'm deep in it, in the trenches. I understand what's going on. I've been spoken to hundreds of game developers over the past few days. I've barely gotten any sleep. So let me tell you what's going on. This is a very bad situation. And I'm not sure Unity is taking it as seriously as it should be taken. You know, they followed up with a couple of response posts that were ambiguous, full of corporate speak, and just infuriated people further and further. I just don't understand how this is possible with such a big, sophisticated company, a publicly traded company, just shooting themselves in the foot over and over and over again. Trust is eroded to the point of breaking. And I've had some people in my comments in the last video try to be clever and say things like, oh, look, this only affects people making more than, 200K or whatever. But they are missing the whole point of this. This is not about the 20 cents tariff. That's only part of the much bigger problem here. This is about a company rolling out what have shown to be patently illogical and nonsensical business model changes out of nowhere with no warning, basically shitting on 2-decade-long relationships and trust building and goodwill from the community. Putting countless of businesses and livelihoods on the chopping block. That's the problem. And this affects everyone on the Unity platform because it erodes the trust in the Unity platform. And it's affecting perception. Because here's the thing. Gamers are now paying attention to this. I've been watching various gaming channels pick this up and talking about this. And Unity already has a negative reputation with some gamers. They just do. Now, every time that splash screen fires up, it's associated with this whole debacle. The whole logo and branding is tainted at this point. Trust is the glue that keeps society together. You break that trust. And it's very hard / impossible to get it back. So that puts us in a very awkward position. It's just not looking good. So many people have already emotionally moved on. A lot of studios are already making transition plans and porting plans to other platforms because they know they just cannot trust Unity. Simple as that. They cannot put their livelihood under a dark cloud and forever wonder if this is going to happen again. The bus is moving and Unity is silent. And like many, I have a Unity game currently in the works that I can't just, port over to another engine. It will just add another year or something to my, timeline. And that's just not acceptable at this point. So I have to continue with Unity. And it's hard, because I'm kind of at the point right now, at least in this current climate, where I just don't even want to see the Unity logo. I don't even want to fire up the IDE. I need to distance myself and take a break, with the exception of making this video, of course. And I think the true damage will be done when the next dev cycle's finished, when current games go out and studios have to then start their new projects and have to decide which platform are they going to use. Unity, Godot, Unreal, or other. And I think that's when the true damage will be revealed, because those platforms like Godot are stepping up at a time like this. the creator of Godot. Oh my God, what a guy. He has been up this whole time just trying to help shepherd all the Unity refugees. But he's not pushing them. He's telling them to look, be cautious. Don't be impulsive. Think very carefully through your decision. But if you choose Godot, this is what we'll do for you. And he's gone as far as making a roadmap plan for the Unity developers. He's talking about adding an asset store. He's talking about adding more robust integrated C# support. I mean, so where do I stand on all of this myself? Now, I mentioned kind of my position in the last video, but I'll say it again just so we're clear. You know, I am a Unity user. I don't want to see Unity go down. It's not going to benefit me. And as developers, it's in our best interest to have more game engines than less, because competition is what's going to bring out the best in these engines for us. But I understand there are some people who at this point are so insulted with Unity, with their patronizing corporate speak and just the audacity of this whole situation, that they just want to see Unity burn. I don't blame them, you know, but just know it doesn't benefit anyone if Unity goes up in flames. You know, I was there for the fall of Flash. I worked through it. And for those who were part of that will know how huge and traumatic that was. Flash, I know it's been a while now, it's been over 10 years, but that was a huge platform. Every single advertising company was using this. This was the biggest plugin in the world. I think like 99.9% of computers had this Flash plugin installed. It was a big deal. So when this thing went away, there was just a void in the market, and we all scattered, and many of us went to Unity. I did. And it's funny to think that a decade later, here I am back again in the bus to hell. I'm not sure some people realize how fast these situations can change. I've heard some people say, well, Unity is a multi-billion-dollar company. It's not like it's going to die. And to that, I'll say, you weren't there for the Flash thing, and you weren't there maybe for Angular.js, how the biggest web-making platform and framework in the world at one point basically went away in a week because of some changes, and everyone went over to React. This happens. Trust me. Developers are a fickle bunch. We do not mess about when it comes to our livelihood, and if something is threatening it, we shift. We pivot very, very quickly. It happens very fast. So believe me when I say you can be a juggernaut company and it can all go away very quickly. Believe it. Once something is looked down on in the tech space, when something is effectively not cool, man, it's kind of over, you know, and it's kind of where we are heading right now with Unity, because this is not the first event. This has been various things that have been happening over the past few years, and this is kind of like the nail in the coffin. It's like the final blow. And it's like Kenshiro from the Fist of the North Star says, you know, you're dead. You just don't know it yet. Perception, trust is everything. So where does Unity even go from here? I mean, it's going to be so interesting to see what they come back with, really. Because at this point, as far as I can see, they would have to firstly walk the whole thing back. The whole thing. Absolutely all of it. Then they would probably have to, you know, change the whole management of that company. And then they would have to like offer some goodwill concessions. I don't know. They'd have to like send a pen to all the developers or something. But even then, I just don't know if there's coming... Oh, man. It's how do you come back from this? So what's next for me? Well, funnily enough, I had a plan prior to this of getting back to making Unity tutorials and educational content. I had a Udemy course in the works that I'd spent about 4 months preparing already. So all this stuff is pretty much dead. And that's a big part of this larger problem that Unity has. What makes Unity popular as a platform, apart from its engine, is the community. All the videos, all the learning resources and Udemy courses and various things that people make for free. Can you imagine at this point, after this situation, anyone going and making a Unity tutorial on YouTube? As someone who has made tutorials in the past, That notion to me is absolutely like off the table. I mean, why would I? I might as well just spend the time on, making Godot tutorials at this point. Once that lake dries up, all those learning resources, as new versions of Unity potentially come out, you've lost a big chunk of the value that was the Unity platform. So anyways, guys, look after yourselves. I know I've been just scrolling Twitter at this point and my eyes need a break. Let's see what happens, guys, and we'll talk soon.